Heroes in arms and my most loving friends, bruised underneath the yoke of tyranny, have we marched on without impediment, thus far into the bowels of the land.
Ще не вмерла України, ні слава, ні воля.
Hi, it's Jonathan, and welcome to a special episode of Trident. Today I am reporting on something that I did not expect to see right now, but which I believe is very important. Since August the 6th, the armed forces of Ukraine has been capturing parts of the Russian Federation on the border with Ukraine. Most of these Ukrainian occupied villages are in Kursk, Oblast, on the Ukrainian-Russian border. However, since the 10th of August, the Ukrainian forces have also entered Belgorod Oblast, another border region. Thus, not only is Russia occupying parts of Ukraine, but in retaliation, Ukraine is occupying parts of Russia. Hence, in this video, I'll summarize what has happened recently. But first I'll give you the prologue to these events by telling you of previous incursions. Throughout the course of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, military targets within Russia have been attacked by Ukraine and especially by pro-Ukraine Russian partisans. Already by the 20th of February 2022, a Russian partisan attacked a recruitment office with Molotov cocktails, beginning a partisan movement in Russia that continues to this day. Russian partisans, including Democrats and anarchists, soon began a rail war, sabotaging rail lines used by military trains to prevent Russian forces from receiving supplies. The partisans soon began to do more than sabotage. Throughout 2022, Russian units began to form in support of Ukraine, and they began to capture Russian settlements the following year. On the 2nd of March 2023, a militia of pro-Ukraine Russian nationalists called the Russian Volunteer Corps, RVC, briefly captured the settlements of Lyubechane and Sushany. Although the RVC is pro-Ukraine, the government of Ukraine denied being involved in the RVC's raid, stating that it is an independent unit. A few months later, from the 22nd to the 23rd of May, the RVC, alongside the Pro-Democracy Freedom of Russia Legion and the Ukrainian-affiliated unit called the Polish Volunteer Corps, captured some settlements in Belgorod Oblast. The RVC, FORL, and PVC soon withdrew, but not before the RVC captured a BTR-82 tank. Because the RVC didn't get any gifts from the other Russian opposition figures, the RVC called the tank a gift to themselves, publishing a video of them applying an RVC sticker onto the tank, thereby cleansing the gift of filth. I kid you not, they gave the tank as a gift to themselves. To my knowledge, the RVC still uses this tank. Then, on the 1st of June, the RVC and FORL returned to Belgorod Oblast, capturing more settlements with help from other pro-Ukraine international units, including the Belarusian Terror Battalion and the Chechen Separate Special Purpose Battalion. The anti-Kremlin forces held the territory until the 15th of June, although sporadic raids would continue until December. Lastly, on the 12th of March 2024, the FORL, the RVC, and the separatist Siberian Battalion announced a new coalition, the Russian Liberation Forces, to participate in the then upcoming presidential elections. However, rather than voting with the usual ballots, the RLF entered Russia yet again, and with help from Chechen and Romanian volunteers, captured settlements in both Belgorod Oblast and Kursk Oblast, which is remarkable enough since Kursk Oblast had never been under the control of the Russian resistance before. The Russian Liberation Forces would do even more remarkable things in Belgorod and Kursk Oblasts. By the 21st of March, they claimed to have killed 651 federal soldiers, wounded 980 more, captured 37 others, destroyed 121 pieces of enemy equipment, and captured 50 more pieces of enemy equipment. The RLF would stay in Russia until the 7th of April, when they finally withdrew to Ukraine. That was a record 3 weeks and 5 days of the Russian government not controlling part of its land. However, that wasn't even the last time that parts of Belgorod and Kursk Oblasts were captured. On the 6th of August, some towns in Kursk Oblast were captured, but this time, these weren't soldiers of the Russian Liberation Forces or any other partisan group. Instead, for the first time, Ukraine has sent Ukrainians across the border to capture these towns. On the 6th of August, Ukrainian forces first entered Kursk Oblast. The Russian government quickly claimed that these forces consisted of 300 soldiers, 11 tanks, and more than 20 armored combat vehicles. Russian military bloggers soon claimed that the Russian Volunteer Corps were involved and that the raid into Kursk Oblast was unsuccessful. However, the Russian Volunteer Corps was not involved for once, and the raid is still ongoing. Rather, this raid involved an assortment of units from the Ukrainian ground forces, units of the air assault forces, a drone unit, and the Georgian National Legion. In other words, this marks the first time since the Second World War that a foreign army invaded Russian territory. On the 9th, a CNN report estimated that Ukraine has captured 250 square kilometers of Russian territory. Additionally, on the 10th, the 252nd Battalion of the Territorial Defense Forces of Ukraine captured Poroz, a town in Belgorod Oblast. 2 days later, on the 12th, Alexander Syrsky, the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, said that Ukraine has captured 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory. For American audiences, that's 386 square miles, the equivalent to the whole of my home city, San Diego, California. Moreover, the acting Russian governor of Kursk Oblast, Alexei Smirnov, claimed that Ukraine has captured 28 settlements and the area of control there is 12 kilometers deep and 40 kilometers wide. However, the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, claimed on the 13th that Ukraine had captured 74 settlements instead. By the 15th of August, Syrsky announced that Ukraine had advanced 35 kilometers deep into Kursk Oblast and had captured 1,150 square kilometers of Russian territory, containing 82 settlements. On the same day, Syrsky announced the creation of a military commandant's office in Kursk Oblast that will maintain law and order and ensure the priority needs of the population in controlled territories. This administration is located in the city of Sucha, the largest Ukrainian-controlled town in Kursk Oblast, and its first and current head is General Eduard Moskalyov, a Ukrainian officer. By the 19th of August, Zelensky claimed that Ukraine now controlled 1,250 square kilometers of territory, with 92 Russian settlements. The official Twitter account of Ukraine announced that despite controlling 1,250 square kilometers of territory, Ukraine's defense forces still have not found a single red line, alluding to the Russian side's threats against the West. A countryman and ally of mine, Richard Watson, found a red line in the Moscow metro. And I found another in the St. Petersburg metro. You may be wondering now, how has the Russian government responded to this? Well, they sent reinforcements to the border to fight the Ukrainians, including Chechen units. You didn't hear it from me, but Russian bloggers already claim that Chechen soldiers fled. They ran quite admirably, I hear. Moreover, the Russian government declared a federal emergency on the 7th of August, and then a counter-terrorism operation in Kursk, Bryansk, and Belgorod Oblasts on the 10th of August. What a strange term for them to use. By the 13th of August, the government of Lithuania claimed that Russian forces were being pulled all the way from Kaliningrad Oblast to fight in Kursk Oblast. On the same day, it was reported that a high-ranking Russian official named Alexei Dyumin, formerly Putin's bodyguard and governor of Tula Oblast, was appointed to head the counter-terrorism operation. And hold on a moment, did I report on him and Masha's adventures in the legal wonderland? In fact, it was only on the 30th of March that the regional governor of Tula Oblast, Putin's former bodyguard Alexei Dumin, convinced Sychina to seek to raise Masha. Toward the end of March, the girl's mother, Olga Sychina, signaled her intention to take custody of the child and to, and I quote, ward off her politics, anti-propaganda, and drawings. The mad news is that Masha was returned because her father, Alexei Vladimirovich Moskalyov, was sent to prison for 2 years.
Goodness, what did he do?
Not what he did, but what his young daughter did. She made artwork that was way too subversive for the Russian government. Yes, I did. This man helped convince the mother of young Masha Moskalyova, a Russian teenage girl in Tula Oblast, to take custody of her because Masha's father was imprisoned in response to her anti-war drawing. And now, this same Dumin is in charge of a counter-terrorism operation that doesn't counter terrorism. All of this, and after Dumin separated one Moskalyov from his daughter, another Moskalyov arrived to fight him. That's not all, however. The Russian government reportedly evacuated over 76,000 people in Kursk Oblast, and those that need it will be given a one-time payment of 10,000 rubles. In American currency, that's a life-changing $115. And apparently they wound up not providing that. They also released combat footage of Russian forces attacking Ukrainian military targets from Donbass. I guess they haven't had enough victories to brag about, but I almost forgot to tell you why the Ukrainians entered Kursk Oblast. Zelensky said on the 10th that Ukraine has begun to, and I quote, push the war out into the aggressor's territory, thereby showing that Ukraine knows how to restore justice, by putting pressure on the Russian Federation, the aggressor. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine announced that Ukraine is not interested in occupying Kursk Oblast, but simply disrupting Russian military logistics and preventing further attacks on Ukrainian territory. As one ministry spokesman, Georgy Tichy, said, the purpose of this operation is to preserve the lives of our children, to protect the territory of Ukraine from Russian strikes. Meanwhile, on the 13th of August, the Center for European Policy Analysis, CEPA, published an article outlining other possible reasons for these incursions, including as a response to Donald Trump's peace plan regarding Ukraine, which Ukraine itself considers impractical, as political leverage in possible negotiations with Russia, and even establishing a base of operations for Russian liberation forces. Indeed, Ilya Ponomaryov, a former Russian politician associated with Ukraine and the RLF, asked Ukraine to allow his forces to create an alternative power on the liberated territory. Ukraine has not yet responded to this proposal for a parallel Russian government in Kursk Oblast, although Ponomaryov is already one of the major figures of a Polish-based Russian government in exile called the Congress of People's Deputies. Other analysts have given Ukraine's motives as, among others, to establish a buffer zone to prevent Russian forces from preparing more attacks from Ukraine, to divert Russian forces from Ukraine itself, and to establish a negotiating position. Indeed, Markus Faber, the chairman of the Defense Committee of Germany's Bundestag legislature, has claimed that these attacks have diverted Russian forces from the east. Furthermore, Faber says, they show the Russian population that their dictator has no control over anything, and it is a good basis for peace negotiations with Putin's successor, and negotiations with Putin before the International Criminal Court. These will be good negotiations, and now you know what is happening now. Russia and Ukraine occupy one another, and I assume some Russian territories are now free to watch this video. For a more thorough analysis of the situation in Kursk Oblast, and in Ukraine itself, I recommend watching the videos made by a YouTuber called Anna from Ukraine. She uploads new videos each day about the war, and her most recent ones are about the Kursk incursions. Hence, I recommend you check her out. For now, I hope you found this video informative. If you want to learn more about the war in Ukraine, and now in Russia, stay tuned for future episodes of this series. For now, I'm Jonathan Lombardi, and this has been Trident.
Ще не вмерла України, ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші воріченьки, як роса на сонці, запанує ми, браття, у своїй